live.
Listen, good morning. This one kind of snuck up on us. Listen, I hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday morning. I need you to click like, share, and subscribe. Click like, share, and subscribe. Listen, how much of that, did y'all hear our conversation beforehand?
Oh, pray to God.
Listen, I'm ticked, Mickey. McDonald's messed my coffee up this morning. They messed it up. So I'm Tonya Burns, and welcome with Talk. Thank you for joining me with Talking with Tonya this morning. And I have my producer. I don't know, he get mad when I say his last name. I'm just gonna say Mickey. Mickey, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Great morning. Good morning.
Listen, we in a good mood, and I may sneeze. My allergies is kicking my butt still. They are. And I feel the sneeze coming on. Oh my God. So we're gonna talk about a few things. One, the budget. Two, the press conference. We're gonna talk about the appeal. The city of Flint is appealing the decision of Judge Brian Pickell. Attorney Kim is, and they're going to an outside firm, a very pricey outside firm. They call them silk stocking attorneys. Had you ever heard that before, Mickey? I hadn't either. Yeah, but I'm not an attorney. So that's what they call them, silk stocking attorneys. I got a sneeze that's coming up, and that is so irritating because I can feel it coming through. Listen, put in wherever you are from, and we just Mickey offbeat too this morning. We both a little offbeat this morning, but it is a good morning, and we are in a good mood, and I hope you are in a good mood too. So it's a good morning, Rose. Good morning, Avis. Good morning, Tony. World fame Mickey. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Winfrey Carter. Good morning, Tarod. Good morning, Jasper. Good morning, Tamaya. I got the sneeze. Good morning, Keith.
I brought that stuff back from City Council. I told y'all pay attention.
Allergies.
Shit, that's that.
Good morning, Brianna's busted being shots. Good morning, Miss Tia here. Hey, Chris, Caleb, how are you?
That's that. Whatever. Liddell.
Good morning, Jay. No,
that I'm getting in trouble. Cough. That's what that is.
You know? She's sick.
Yeah, I know.
You can hear all. I wouldn't come if because you get other people sick. You do. Good morning, Jessica Stewart. Good morning, Janice Horton. Good morning, Tony Barber. Good morning, Hassan Pinchback. Oh, I gotta sneeze.
Deal.
That's a minus out. Look, y'all. I need y'all to click like, share, and subscribe. Good morning, you said. Good morning, D. Gilbert. Good morning. No name. Wait a minute. No name. Good morning, Councilwoman Bay. Don't have the Liddell flu. Councilwoman Bay.
That's that whooping hack that Liddell got. She giving y'all up there. It ain't woofing cough, it's woofing hack.
Woofing hack. Mine is allergies. It's allergies. Good morning, Cicero. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Jolene. I haven't seen her all. Good morning, Savon. Good morning, RJ Cat. You know, I'm supposed to be over there in the corner, Mickey.
Listen, did you see that?
Do I need to move the boxes myself?
Because there's so much stuff we got.
You just flip flop it.
I'm telling you, it's terrible. Terrible.
Good morning, Joseph Williams. Good morning, Rhoda Murphy. Anyways, we and if I have not two P's in the podcast.
Mention that lady name up. It's Rhoda and not Rhonda. I've been saying
that's Rhoda. There's no N in that.
I'm sorry.
Good morning, Miss Cynthia Morgan Jarrett. How are you doing this morning? And good morning, Sherry Allen. And I know Papa's probably listening, so good morning, Papa, too. Papa Jarrett. Who? Oh. So you got instructions to do stuff.
Yeah, that's why I was over here sharing this.
Okay. Because my instructions, I'm a little off today. You know, kind of like how that press conference. I'm sorry, Mickey. We're going to get into that. So what are we starting with? First of all, we're gonna start with good morning, Sheena B, Michelle 69, and Justin Ellis. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So we're gonna get started. Juwan Jackson, Liddell be hacking. You can I ain't hacking. I just had to sneeze. Mickey acted like it's something just really serious.
That's how it always started. A little sneeze.
And
then I'll be hearing, yeah, Mickey, I can't make it.
Nah, and I was sick that one time, but that was bad. I mean,
that came from city council.
That one I believe did, because I was literally sick. I had never been that sick. I don't even think I was that sick with the COVID. I mean, I threw up for I was sick for probably like 10 days. And, and it gave, and I hate to say it, it came out of every orifice that was possible. I mean, seriously, it was like an instant weight loss. I mean, it was terrible. I had to go to the hospital. I had gotten dehydrated. I threw up so much. Last time I remember throwing up that much, I was pregnant with my second child. And I threw up every day, all day with him. All day. That child. But anyways, I am through messing with you today, Mickey, because Mickey on something else today. So we're gonna get started, because what was the first one that we putting up? Because the lawsuit. So we know that the Judge Paquel came back with my 30-day suspension. He said he gave a permanent injunctive order, and he gave a 21 page decision on why he felt, his decision as a judge, to not remove elected officials. Now we're getting on a slippery slope. So if we put it up, and I want to say thank you to attorneys Johnson and Makowski, who are my attorneys, which now are basically going to end up being the 4 attorneys, because there's a clear thing that the city of Flint is focused on kicking out city council people. And so the city couldn't win the case, could not. So guess what they did? Went and got a pricey firm, but so long, a professional corporation. And they're like $500 plus an hour. $500 plus an hour. So we're talking about the city attorney's main focus is making sure they can put out council members. The judge gave his decision. He's wasting tax dollars on garbage. And I don't even know. I didn't have words to say for what he's doing. Because when you think, it had to have taken Judge Paquel, it took him over 3 weeks for the decision. And when he finally made the decision, it was very well thought out. Usually you'll see decisions like 3 to 5 pages, but this was 22 pages, 20-something pages. So there was thought into it. And Attorney Kim said, okay, well, he couldn't win it. Well, I'm going to send it to an expensive firm that I think can. That is just a waste of city resources. Because one, the reasons that they're putting people out and censuring people is based on lies. He's supporting a lie with tax dollars. And so when we're saying that the charter and the Michigan State Constitution, and we're looking at all of the laws that are on the books, and he wants to challenge this. Now, there are some other things, because he doesn't win any cases. He settles cases. I don't think anything goes to court. Matter of fact, they don't. They settle. And that's what it is. And so he's sending this to Butzel and Long. So it goes to a higher court. It cannot go back to Judge Paquel because he gave a permanent injunctive order. They're fighting it. So this will cost not the city, because the city isn't paying for my attorney. The city's not paying for my attorney at all, my attorneys at all. And so this is on the 4 council people, because they want to put us out. And you can see some of the things that they're saying, which is very negative, about Councilman Jarrett. Councilman Jarrett is very much on point, and he's a very independent thinker, which is all that residents and people should want. Independent, look at the information and take what you have with information, what you need, and then make a decision. And that's what he is. He's an independent vote, independent thinker, independent councilman. And that I respect. I respect that. So we are now going into court. And they put into this already about 25, 30 hours, this $500 a month firm. They've already put about that into it. So you multiply 500 times 25 hours. And it's going to keep going and they want an emergency appeal. They want to hurry up to be able to throw us back out. Yeah, just like the disorderly, just like putting the tripod gate. I mean, they are infringing on people's First Amendment rights, on people's rights, period. And they don't care. It's become a dictatorship. It's not freedom of the press. They want the people who are there to be quiet. You can't get up, walk around. I mean, it's insanity. It's insanity. And people have to understand how serious it is. That they are a threat to our democracy. Period. Period. And so this case will be going to a firm that's at least 500 plus an hour, because the focus is they want to have the ability to throw out council people that were elected by the people, when the state constitution is very clear that the only way that you can have removal is by the governor, and it must rise to the level of cause, such as being convicted of a felony or by recall. This should not be the focus. It should not. It should not be the focus. Should not be the focus that is driven by the mayor, because he heading us right on down to emergency management street, roll, whatever you want to call it, because the state took over. We're going to get into that too, with the state taking over the service and lead line replacement. So we're going back to court again. And here's one of the things. Council can be represented, the ones who are actually committing these acts, but I don't get representation. They're not paying for my attorney fees at all. So I want to get into that. So I wanted to start off so people will know we're going back to court, and they want an emergency hearing by a pricey, very pricey firm, because the city can't handle it. I mean, there are 5 or 6 attorneys. So he's his own firm, with the city attorney. He couldn't handle it. Attorney Kim couldn't handle it. So he sent it out to somebody else. Why do we have him as our city attorney? Why do we have him for our city attorney? Because if he had given good legal advice and understood that what the Michigan Constitution stated and the charter and law, he would not have told them, hey, you can put him out. But he had such a hatred for Eric Mays, Councilman Eric Mays. He hated him. Well, they didn't like each other. It was very fair to say.
Yeah.
They did not like each other. And this will probably affect Councilman Mays' case also. But you also have 2 other council people who have been censured, which is Jerry Murphy Carter and Dennis Pfeiffer. They've also been censured. So if you don't play by their rules, basically they're saying, we're going to put you out. If you don't do what we tell you to do, which is this, and it doesn't mean when you're just in council, because they got mad about my podcast, y'all. That is on the removal or suspension that the judge said you can't do it. My podcast, we didn't even get into the body of it, because it wasn't about it, was the law. They said that they had problems with my podcast. They're interpreting the law with no law degree and being upheld by an attorney who can't win a case and is using another firm. Now here's the thing. Anybody knows people worry about a case in Genesee County because they don't feel you don't get a fair hearing. Or fair shake, because that's all you want is a fair shake. Everybody, you want your day in court and you want it to be fair. I can honestly say Judge Paquel was fair. If Judge Paquel ever runs again, or I know he is, I will support him because he's fair. He's fair. He went by the law. That's all that I wanted, by the law. So now Attorney Kim is challenging. He's upset. He said he was upset about Judge Paquel's decision, and he didn't agree with it. So Anyways, we are going to go on to somebody said they're worrying about a podcast and not the president cussing out pastors out in front of school children. Well, that's a whole list. Yeah. Cussing out ordained pastors twice, cussing out a councilman inside of Southwestern High School. We can keep going. Getting up, walking out on the vote for the Mitchell boys. Did not vote for Pump Station 5, not once, but twice. But then going to try to come to council and say, well, I knew the money was there. No, you didn't support your residents flat out. You didn't. And they had raw sewage and urine in their basements. I mean, we can keep getting up to fight Dennis Pfeiffer, Don Pfeiffer, and Rich Jones. So somebody said, what, which one, how in the hell did?
Can you explain how the council calls for the question without two-thirds vote? That's unheard of.
Listen, they do what they want to do. And it's a chart. It gives, there's even a 2/3 chart that was emailed or given to all, even to attorneys. They don't follow it. They just, how do you take something out of committee like they did at the budget hearing? Several of them items, that is what I left at home. Oh, no, I didn't. Several of them items did not, they failed. You know, and we talk about what's not consistent with them. This is that goofy, and it is goofy, disorderly conduct. I'm telling you, I got dumber reading that. I'm serious, because I didn't understand maybe 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I had a couple of attorneys looking, they're like, who wrote, where did this come from? But in this council meeting, I don't know how all these items came back up for reconsideration. Some of them were voted on to go back to committee. I don't know. I mean, they took back out one, and Jonathan Jared had stated, Councilman Jared had stated, well, that was sent to committee. Well, they brought it back out of committee. I mean, they just running rogue, and they doing it with the help of the city attorney. Angela Wheeler would stop, and that's what the city attorney is there for, to like stop, to make sure things are done in a orderly and legal fashion. You know, she would say, okay, point of order or request information. I would like to, she would stop to make sure that they're on the right track. So some of these lawsuits, that are happening is because of Attorney Kim. I mean, some of this stuff is just crazy. So I don't know how they counting. I mean, I don't know. And I don't want to be able to understand their frame of mind, because that means I may be as discombobulated as they are, because I don't understand it. But let's say some of the stuff coming out of here is just crazy. And which one did we send? We sent back to committee, and they took it back out. They took it back out.
The DDA one.
It may have been a DDA. That was I can't, when you sit there, so much going on, and we had like a book, and I actually read everything, but it is too much. So, let's go on to, we're going back to court, y'all, and they want to waste more money, on a frivolous of the city's money. And I guess my money, because my attorney was not paid for. So I might have to, rob a bank. I need a $20,000 check like the DDA got. she got that. Listen, because these attorneys are not cheap. They're not cheap at all. And I think they want me to walk away and give up. I have never seen nothing like it. I have not. What they did was piss me off. It's what they've done, But I do want to say thank you to Judge Brian Pickell, who was fair and gave a good decision. And Attorney Kim, that really wasn't a smart thing to want to appeal that, because you got to do business in Genesee County. I wouldn't have done that, and he's upset. No, you probably should have been a better attorney. So let's go on to the next one. Mickey, that press conference, was that our next one?
You better believe that. What's up? But I got to put this up first, what y'all did to that press conference.
Listen, y'all know, like the wedding crashers and the Christmas party crashers, me and Jonathan Jared was the press conference crashers. And I did not know he was going. I didn't know. I didn't know till I pulled in, and I'm like, oh, Jonathan is here. And so I got upstairs. He was the only one that was there. They did a press release. Listen, shh, we're gonna crash the press conference. Listen, because I'm like, watch this foolery that's getting ready to happen. I knew it was gonna be some foolery. I knew it. And so we get there. So Jonathan's sitting next to his wife, his beautiful wife. And I sat behind them when I got there first. And he says, hey, is it a problem if I go up there and stand? Because I said, no, you can go up there and stand. I can't, tell you that. I don't know if they might be writing a resolution to pass that you can't no more, because they some resolution writing, violating right folks. And so he went up there, and I went up there, and I sat in the front. I don't know if you were there yet, Mickey. And so so he stands there, and he's taking in all the information.
Send it back to me.
I gotta send the
press conference, but I can go on my page and get that.
Oh no, I can send it back. Yeah. So I told you my stuff does not. I don't know. My internet is questionable. It is questionable. Wait a minute. I may have to go back on. Maybe because I did it because you didn't do it. Let me go back to the 810. So anyway, so we get there. So he's up there, and why is that doing that? So they're talking and they're reading off. Now, here was one of my issues with that. This shouldn't have been. Why are you giving a press release for a press conference when what it should have been was a what it should have been, instead of a press conference, it should have been a working meeting, so we could pass the budget. But you give a press conference, which was premature because the deadline isn't until Monday. So they're blaming their colleagues, and the date hasn't even passed. Now, if you just happen to have watched that very, very sad budget hearing, I like Mr. Moore, but Mr. Moore didn't have no answers. No figures was right. Them figures was so bad, Quincy Murphy said they was bad and said he wasn't voting for it. And we're going to go to it too, that part. He said it. And they got upset then. That wasn't in one of their five. One might be gone. And so how do you vote on a budget and the numbers? They didn't have the numbers. The figures weren't right. We'll get back to you. Look, just vote yes. And then we'll get back to you. Just vote yes. No, that's not how that goes. You come prepared. So instead of the council president and the chair of the finance chair, which he stated he was depending on Judy's numbers. That might be why they was all wrong, because he said that at the meeting. And then they got mad when I said they running this city like a Kool-Aid stand. They got mad, but it's the truth. Now, it's the insult to Kool-Aid stands. You know why? They have a simple process. They make Kool-Aid, they sell it. They know how much money they got. We don't know. We don't know. Because the numbers were wrong throughout. I mean, it was the trash collection fee. It was, I think, 2 of the millages was wrong. I mean, it was so many different things which were wrong. And so how do you pass a budget and the figures are wrong? This is budget time. The figures should have been right. They were still figuring the figures. And you cannot vote on something if you don't know the figures. I mean, so that to me was crazy. So, but we're going to get back to and can you put up the blue screen? Because I didn't understand. Okay. I understood what they were doing to drag their council people. And we're going to watch the press conference together. And Mickey, and then so you can just keep that up and we'll play and then keep me in like the little box.
I got you.
But yeah, that should, instead of having a press conference, it should have been a working council meeting. They have their priorities mixed up. If it was so important to pass the budget, schedule a meeting so we can get the budget passed. There's nothing that says you have to have it done in one meeting. It's not. You schedule it, you get it right. We have 4 people there. All we needed was 1 more. You need 5 to pass it. So if you're serious, if Liddell Lewis and Judy Priestley were serious about it, they would have scheduled a meeting to get the budget passed instead of a press conference as to drag their council people. Well, council people wasn't there, and they didn't attend meetings. Liddell Lewis didn't attend all meetings. She is the biggest liar. She did not attend all meetings. And then the one with the police, she was probably like an hour late, at least an hour late. And she didn't attend all. Judy didn't attend all meetings. No council people attended all of the budget hearings. They didn't. And that last budget callback, Judy didn't come at all. But then they're up there saying they should have attended the meetings. How hypocritical. The both of them are hypocrites. They didn't attend all the meetings. And so when it came to scheduling, that I didn't get she didn't ask me for input. Just like we got a meeting on Monday. We didn't get asked if Monday at 12 o'clock was good. As you can see, they lie, because Councilman Jarrett was asking, well, you didn't call me, And then what she told him? He was becoming combative. She likes to gaslight this. No, you're lying. You did not ask council people if they could attend. 12 o'clock noon Monday, good for you. That did not happen. Did not. And neither did not one council person attended all of the scheduled budget hearings. That is a fact. A fact. Look at the video. It's a fact. Simple as that. Because the first time Leon El Alamein came and spoke to me, Liddell wasn't at that meeting at all. He walked over. It's the first time him and I had conversation. And it was, I think, Mr. Jarrett, Councilman Jarrett was there, Judy, myself, and Leon. I think that's who was there. Liddell Lewis wasn't there. She's telling people that they should have been there. She wasn't there. Just a liar. Just a liar. And in this press conference, you're going to hear her say that. But my thing is, should have been scheduling a meeting instead of a press conference. If you're serious about passing the budget, schedule a working meeting, because we can pass the budget. Let's figure all this out. If that deadline was so serious, schedule the meeting. So we're going to walk through, and Mickey, we can stop it along the way. Because they had a prepared thing where they were just dragging and lying about the council members didn't come to the meetings. Council members didn't do this. What did y'all do? Y'all didn't have y'all figures. The CFO said he trusted Julie's figures. Well, sir, all of your figures were off. The trash figure was off. The lighting, street light assessment figure was off. So if Judy was doing them figures, you need to not let her do those figures anymore. Figures were off. So I didn't put on my headphones. And then we'll stop. So we're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna watch the one that and I appreciate Councilman Jarrett's spirit, because he showed up. So we both showed up for the meeting, and I was happy that he showed up, because we have to be accountable. That press conference was nothing more than to steer the media, to put it in the media that this council is dysfunctional or this council can't work together, being led by the council president. Her main objective was to drag her fellow council people and then say, we should be able to work together. You're not trying to work. You didn't even schedule a meeting to work. You want to put blame, and it's not. Blame the CFO. Blame y'all not working with the CFO. It's the council president's responsibility and the finance chair, along with the administration, for them to have the answers. We just vote. And all of us have one equal vote. All of us. Their vote is no more greater. It has no more weight than the other. But I'm going to tell you, That was just a mess. It was a mess. So let's play it, Mickey, and we're gonna play. It's what is it? A total of 17 minutes. Oh, we're gonna skip through some of it though.
5. To operate, they need the authorized millage revenue. Yet because some council members have some objections to some of their practices, this was sent to committee. Without this millage, they cannot operate. This needs to be passed prior to sending out tax bills, but is not part of the city budget. A question was raised about the expense versus the amount billed for streetlights. The streetlight fund is a separate fund, which also needs to be approved by the first Monday in June. As we are all aware, not all residents pay their taxes. Thus, the amount of revenue budgeted is less than what will be billed. This is standard budgeting practice, estimated what will be collected versus what is billed. Without approving this assessment prior to the adoption of the budget, we are unable to prove that part of the budget. Again, this budget must be approved by the first Monday in June. I raised the issue that the amount of the assessment for garbage collection is not enough to cover its costs. The mayor does not want to increase the fee, and I understand that raising any fee is not a popular idea. However, I wanted to make sure that council members understood that by raising the fee by $13.30, it would reduce the amount of ARPA funds needed to be used to prop up this fund. I did not offer an amount, nor did I say it would eliminate it. No amendments were offered by any member. Again, this is part of the budget that must be approved. Despite being told repeatedly that the master fee schedule could be changed at any time, it was also sent to committee. I had asked that we receive the schedule prior to this meeting since it is something that is not covered in budget hearings. It is an insignificant part of the budget, but it is part of it nevertheless. In conclusion, certain council members were negligent in their duty to adopt the budget. I believe, based on comments made during the meeting on Wednesday, May 29th, that it is their goal to paint myself and Dr. Lewis in a bad light. And I hope that this has cleared up any questions that residents may have had. And I'll open it up to questions. Oh, you have comments.
As the president of the Flint City Council and proud resident of the Second Ward, it is my duty to ensure that the Flint City Charter is upheld. It is not optional. One of our many duties is to ensure that the city maintains a balanced budget every fiscal year, as it is state law. This year is no different. The body failed to deliver during the last city council meeting. We had ample time to hear from departments, review numbers, ask questions, and find solutions at budget hearings over the past month. We all have access to the same department heads to ask for further explanations on the submitted budget. Now is not the time to politicize something that has been before us for months. Unfortunately, we have had colleagues who brag about being their second year refusing to pass a balanced budget. And that simply is not acceptable when we think about the over 80,000 lives harmed by this choice. We have colleagues that have already stated that they will not pass a budget at all. Our colleague in the 8th Ward, Dennis Pfeiffer, states, I will abstain on any vote to approve the city budget as long as dollars and resources are being spent to chauffeur Liddell Lewis or any other council member around. If there are any active threats, then council should be briefed on those threats and appropriate action should be taken. Until then, it is abuse of power and misuse of public tax dollars. The Flint police are not Uber and need to be used for the safety of residents. Crime is not down in the city like others claim. Well, unfortunately, if crime is not down, this is not a time when we can afford not to fund our police. The budget was originally submitted to us on March the 1st. We have had time to make changes, and now it is our responsibility to pass a balanced budget, which we have before us. Therefore, we are calling a special meeting for the purpose of passing a balanced budget. And this special meeting will take place Monday at noon here in the council chambers. I call on my colleagues, which have joined us in the background, to take action on behalf of the Flint residents who deserve uninterrupted city services and a stable government. And now we will take questions.
Before I guess we'll hear a rebuttal, just a couple quick questions. The city has until Monday to get this done, to meet the charter. So this is part of the normal process, maybe not verbatim, but it's part of the normal process. So isn't it acceptable to continue to have questions up to the point where the deadline happens?
Some of the resolutions actually talk about finances that were sent to committee. That doesn't happen until Wednesday, the first Wednesday in June, not the first Monday in June. The first Monday in June is the 3rd. The first Wednesday is the 5th. So we can't approve a budget without the finances. We need to have the income. Otherwise, what are we approving? We have to authorize villages. We have to authorize the street lights. We have to authorize the garbage tax. Otherwise, how will we get those monies in that budget? We can't. They have to be approved so we have an idea of what amount will be going into that fund.
And just one other question from me. Isn't there a legitimate argument to be made that since ARPA funds will be part of what the city will be spending, that should also be included in the master budget and not something more separate?
It was added later in the budget that we have it in our packets. ARPA was included as part of the revenue. The expenses aren't included because those are the determination, final determination of those expenses have not been made. Although we do have a plan of how to spend it, those numbers I don't believe are included in the ARPA plan, are in that part of the budget.
Shouldn't they have been?
Yes, but each one is each resolution is. Now I will tell you, I've only looked at the revenue side of the ARPA. I did not look at the expense side of that part because I did see that the revenue was different. I think that the expense was different too, but I'd have to verify that.
Again, just one last question. Do you have the votes on Monday?
We'll see.
Okay, and so we are definitely appreciative that we can be joined by other colleagues. And we wish they would have came here to the budget sessions. Whether if you are not appointed to the council, you can listen from the audience. But we wish that all colleagues would participate in the process. Last year, we know that we heard some colleagues say that they did not like the process. They were offered an opportunity to offer suggestions to improve the process. However, they declined to participate in that process. So we just want to make sure that everyone is doing everything possible to move the city of Flint forward, working in tandem.
And I guess,
Absolutely, when they're done, yes. When you're done with your question.
my questions are done.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
So thank you. So I'm going to speak to this. I agree that we should all, and I'm going this tall. Are we back on? Okay, so I don't know, Mickey, because this is serious. It's really, really serious. And I don't want to, this is really the business of the city, especially with the state taking over the service lines, saying, look, you couldn't handle wind funds and you didn't apply for other funds to finish your service lines, your administrative consent order. Somebody go rob Fort Knox, if Fort Knox still exists, because that's what we will need. The seriousness of this, I don't think they understand. Because one, we don't have the money. They didn't have the figures right. And I'm going to play the part with the CFO. I'm not a press conference to talk about Dennis Pfeiffer making a statement on social media is not about Uber rides and her getting an Uber. Is not what she should be having a press conference. The president of the city council should have called a working meeting to make sure we can function and pay these departments, and so city services can be uninterrupted. If they were serious about not having city services uninterrupted, they wouldn't have called a press conference to talk about what's on social media. and Uber rides and colleagues last year, colleagues don't want to work, and a lot. And here's the thing: I don't have to like you to work with you. I'm on the record always saying that I don't have to like you to work with you. I worked in a racist school and I didn't have anyone speak to me but the principal, basically. And even the maintenance man or the janitor was a little funny. And for 4 months, they did not speak to me because I was the only Black teacher that was there. I don't care if people don't like me. Do your job. The parents in my classroom, when my students did. So I'm used to working. I can work with you. You don't have to like me, speak to me, nothing. This is the city of the business of the city. And when they call a press conference to mention in their written response that they're concerned what Dennis Pfeiffer states about his comments about it's a waste of city resources, I absolutely have a problem with it too. I absolutely do. Because here it is. I know that people are not getting calls for gunshots. I can give you 2 within the last 2 weeks. Those are the ones I know about. One was on Brunswick Street, and the other one's on Sherwood, that the bullet went through her house from Sherwood to Coventry Street that landed near a child's bedroom. I got the gunshots. Matter of fact, we're going to skip, and I'm gonna send you that because I want to, so absolutely on the budget part, she wants to complain about that. When I'm and literally, Mickey, people will know that I will stay on. You could call me if it's an emergency. I'm gonna answer my phone. That I am. But when we given, the press conference should have been about let me drag my colleagues, and we should be able to get along. That's just not. It's just not gonna happen, and it's not gonna happen. One, because that's not their intent. Their intent should have been as the president of the Flint City Council and the president and the copy this. You heard that?
Hell yeah.
You thought that was in here? Okay.
Shit.
Okay. They should have been more focused on having a working session to get the budget passed because they didn't have the numbers. Judy was just stating up there that she had to verify some numbers to the reporter again, and it was time after time. So when we talk about when Dennis is saying resources for the police instead of Uber rides, yeah, I'm with Dennis on that. I think that's a waste of resources because you know what? He's received death threats. I've received them. I had to file a complaint, and that has happened. Mine were legitimate. I think Dale Lewis's came back as that threat wasn't true. There was no threat, is what they stated. So when he states about having a concern about city resources, people call 911, and we don't have enough officers for gunshots that are hitting people's homes, shooting at each other. So, here, Mickey, play this and play it twice so they hear it because it's only a short clip.
Get back. Get back. Holy shit.
Fuck.
Get back. Get back. Holy shit. Get back. 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 Get ba Get back. Get back. Holy shit.
Fuck.
So this this is a party house who cussed out deputy chief. He cussed out a captain. Am I back on? He posts on social media, party at his house, $5 to get in. It's the after hours. And so this is the second summer. And I've been over there. I don't know how many times. He cussed them out. And so this night, when the neighbors had called, it started with the loud music, the partying, the parking on their grass again, blocking their driveways, didn't have a police officer again. Um, then it was a fight in the street. Now, neighbors didn't start complaining till after 11. So the first call to me was like a little about a quarter after 11. And then there was a fight about 2 a.m. Then it was shots about 3:30 a.m. I called into 911. I don't know how many times because I tell residents, you call 911 first. It's a process because we have to have official record. You make that call to them, then call me, then I will call. And I always have at least 2 to 3 phones next to me. And I call. And then I call the desk sergeant. That night, she's a registered nurse. She has she has lupus. She had to hit the floor. She was up all night, and they shoot all the time. So we're wasting resources. Like we had entire second shift of the Flint Police Department because Liddell cannot run a meeting. Her and Judy meetings are dumpster fires. And so yeah, gunshot. This is what I deal with. So there be some days I be tired, and people be calling in. We have this problem. People are selling their homes because of the violence. The violence. That shouldn't be the norm. That should not be the norm. I mean, I've been to the 911 center. Okay, I can't tell you how many times. I just sat there with the little headphones on. My number is registered in there because I call on everything wherever I'm at. And so my thing is, when you hear gunshots, call it in because we need I get the data. I can, I make sure because I get the data and it'll tell us how many, what.
And then Kendra Weather said my mom called me to come get her yesterday because they were shooting on the north side.
Let me tell you something. The violence is out of control, and we giving Uber rides. I didn't, and I'm gonna tell you, the Michigan State Police told me I should inform the police department because my threat is legitimate to get rides. I have not. I'm licensed to carry. I'm a plan to go home every day wherever I go. I have limited some of the things that I do. I make sure I go and not just by myself. So I've changed. Don't keep the same pattern. And I'm saying I got my neighbors are they're young, and I'm like the mama and the auntie. It is because if anything is suspicious, like across the street, they look out. They don't even party anymore like they used to because I've been out there on them in my pajamas. I'm like, it is Saturday morning. What is you doing? And they like, well, I waited till after 12. No, I didn't go to sleep till 5. So no, and they look out for me. The young man next door can't afford a lawnmower. I don't even mow my grass. I keep my lawnmower up so he can mow his grass. And he mows another lawn. We work together. And so and they look out for me. And if anybody looks suspicious, it's on. I mean, it's on. And that's just the way it is with them. And I'm literally, there's 2 on this side, 1 on this one, and across the street is some young, and they look out for me because I look out for them. I pull their coattail and let them know before they do some dumb stuff. They'd come to me and say, hey, I made a mistake. I did this. I mean, the police rolled up on one of them lawn. I was on the phone. And I'm like, what is going on? And I went, I talked to the officer because he was on his motorcycle doing something he shouldn't have been doing. And the officer said, oh, Councilwoman Burns. Okay, well, And I said, he did what? He got the business. He got the business. And it's like kind of like a auntie. And I'm like, I want you to be safe, but you can't be doing this stupid stuff, and we have to start making our community accountable. But I am getting back to this. Gunshots should not be normal. They are normal. You hear the gunshots and then you wait to hear ambulance.
And kids should be able to play
And keep,
outside.
they can't. I had somebody call me about someone firing off firearms. This is within last week and a half. Shooting, and 3 kids witnessed it. Scared, traumatized the kids. Did not have an officer to send. Did not. The little girl that got shot at Banana Boat, when they were shooting down the street at a 6-year-old little girl. That's my ward, as the boundaries have changed.
I'm gonna tell you something funny about that.
And she's going to be okay.
Oh,
They
okay.
said she's in good condition, but she got shot. But when you're in a city where you feel so free to just shoot and don't care that nobody's going to do anything, we shouldn't be giving anybody not a damn Uber ride with a fake threat. Nobody is going to mess with her. She needs to stop that. Dennis Pfeiffer didn't get any help. He didn't even get a call back from Chief Green or the mayor.
And you know what I seen yesterday when I rode by the ice cream spot?
What?
Even though it was kids, they should have seen how the parents was looking. That's not a way you're supposed to be.
No, ice cream.
The parents looking, because they was back open. It was there, but you should have seen how the parents was looking. I was like, damn, they not safe.
No, you don't, and it affects you. You know, it'll traumatize you. I can remember being on the bus going to my grandmother's, and I was in 2nd grade, and the bus getting into an accident because of a car. And I remember my bus driver, her name was Maxine. My grandparents lived on Warrington Drive then. I went to Pierce Elementary. And I remember being so traumatized because the bus had gotten into an accident. Trauma can stick with us. These children are living with trauma. Gunshots is not the norm. You hitting the floor. That lady who has been in her home for over 40 something years, which it's paid for, and her son is staying there with her now because he wants to make sure his mother is okay. You know, it's ridiculous. You know what happened? And it just gets worse, because you know what happened to her and the neighbor a week Tuesday. They were mauled by a dog. 3 people were mauled by a pit bull, because we got dogs just running loose all over the city of Flint, just running loose. One person had to receive surgery. The dog had been loose, and I got to pick the dog. They had put up on the website, whose dog is this? The dog just, he mauled them. I sent Chief Green, and if he's doing something right, I'll support him. But when I call you, I'm not calling because I'm trying to, I need to talk. She has lupus. She didn't want to take the rabies shot. I just got an email back yesterday. Called you on Tuesday. And I called Booth. And so it's to the point to where, the safety of the city is not the same. You can go right out to Burton, it's different. You go right out to Flushing, it's different. You go to Grand Blanc, it's different. Where is our public safety plan? What is he doing? Used to be that the calls went out for gunshots, all of the agencies here. It's not that way anymore. Chief Green took us off of the Tyler Cat information sharing program so that they do not get up on their screen. If it's a shooting, they get the all call, but they don't get up on their screen so that Michigan State Police can see it and the Sheriff's Department can see it. They can't see it. They removed us from it. They can't see it. So when we talk about people getting, what's going on, getting a ride with an Uber, and we got gunshots, and they said gunshots on, what was that, Brynell shootout? It's the common thing. Shootout at the Banana Boat. Banana Boat going by was a shootout, but a 6-year-old little girl got shot. So when we talk about the budget hearings, and they want to blame their colleagues, I'm dealing with real stuff. And until we get crime under control, which is not reported, another one over by Freeman School, 2 brothers got into a fight, a shootout. I'm sorry. They were shooting. One brother was shooting at the other one. And neighbors called, residents called. And guess what? Nobody showed up. To this day, people are getting frustrated. People have the love of the city, in the heart of the city. But until you start and get a plan, that's going to work and implement. It's not working what you're doing. It's not working. It's just not. I don't even mean to deter her because we done got way off. That's the real stuff that's happening in the city of Flint that I'm concerned about. But let's get back to that budget. Number one, Judy didn't have her stuff. She said she still had to check and verify some figures. I mean, you 2 days or a day after the budget, and you still verifying. The reporter told us a standard budget practice when we still asking questions. It's part of the process. The reporter asked questions to them to where they could not answer because the press conference was to make the colleagues look bad. No, y'all didn't have the figures right. The CFO didn't. Judy, you're supposed to work with the CFO and he's supposed to work with you. Simple as that. The revenue was off. The street lights, that number was off. What did it say? Councilman Jared said the math wasn't mathing. The math really wasn't mathing on all of those, a lot of those. On the street light assessment, the garbage assessment, the master fee schedule, the numbers were off. Master fee schedule, that's everything that you're charged a fee in the city of Flint. The numbers were off. They said we were negligent. Liddell said they're negligent, or Judy, one of them, were negligent to adopt a budget. And they were trying to paint them in the bad. We were trying to paint them in the bad light. Councilman Murphy had left, and Dennis Pfeiffer wasn't there. Wasn't trying to paint you in the bad light. You put yourself in the bad light. Again, trash assessment figures were off. They weren't correct. The streetlight assessments numbers were off, and the master fee schedule, some of those numbers were off. So we can go back and amend it. No, we're not putting no duct tape on it or super glue and hold it together to it. No, do it right. It comes the same time every year. Not to politicize that. We're not here to politicize. What else was that press conference for? Right. To politicize, Mickey. It was absolutely, because the due date is not till Monday. I'm not voting on anything till y'all learn how to count. If you can't count, use a calculator. And if you can't use a calculator, pay the CFO. He get $150,000 a year. He should be able to tabulate those numbers. Too many of the categories were off. How are we paying for this stuff? The state of Michigan took over our service line replacement. The last time they took something over, we went into emergency management. And why did we go into emergency management? They said the city council and the mayor lack the will to lead and to govern. So they took over the city. What does this look like now? They just took over. That was it. We went to emergency management. They just took over the service lines. The wind funds gone. We didn't have money to finish the service line. Wind funds are gone. The state's taken over the service line replacement. In the article, they said, I don't know where they got this 1,800 number from, because they went into a little meeting. And when they came out, they said they told them in the meeting. I didn't go in the meeting, but they told them in the meeting they had 31. Now I'm looking at these other numbers that the state is doing. These numbers are all over the place. And Quincy's like, they're not the numbers that we got when the man was out here from Roe. So I don't know. I don't even know what this looks like for them to finish the service line replacement. Yes, the state is responsible. What the city what they should have been doing when Mayor Neely came into office, he had a $24 million fund balance, and they were working towards, increasing that to do the capital improvements in the other projects. And so what has happened is that with those wind funds, they don't know how many were left. And I know people still have not gotten theirs done. Imagine that. Benton Harbor has gotten theirs done. Benton Harbor is done. And they got indoor plumbing. Jackson, Mississippi has gotten theirs done. The one that started, I think Baltimore, Maryland had some issues with theirs. Theirs is done. But guess who hasn't had theirs done? Flint, Michigan. Flint. Not done. And so the state taking it over. The state has taken that over. I mean, it'll get done now because the state had to come in. The state has said, you know what, Flint, you don't know what you're doing. Flint, we're not going to let you play with people's health anymore. This is a public health issue. This is a public health crisis. You know, people still can't drink the water from the tap in Flint. And Flint, you don't know what you're doing. Flint, we didn't even apply for the money. The money was there. They didn't even apply. They didn't apply. Money was there. So the state said, you know what? We put the money over here. All y'all had to do is apply, and we take that money, we give it here. You have some, project manager, your DPW, you guys take that money and you get it, taken care of. It didn't happen. So the state said, we're going to take you out the equation because you're incompetent. The state is basically telling Flint, we're incompetent because we couldn't handle our own affairs. The state took over. Congressman Kildee spoke about the frustration. For him to speak out in the transparency, thank you, Congressman Kildee, for that. Thank you, Congressman Kildee, for that. Because I think that may have something to do with them saying, look, they don't have the capability to handle this. We have to take over and manage this. And the state did. So not passing that budget, the figures weren't right. You can't pass when it's not right. We had no grants budget. The auditors have stated time after time after time, you have to have all budgets. All budgets. We did not have all budgets. She had still questions. I think she said she had to do something. When he asked her about the ARPA budget, and then we didn't have grants budgets. We still had questions about the DDA. If we bail on the out, I want to know what your goals are. That is a part of the budget process. What are their goals? Doesn't make a difference that they do theirs separately. We still can ask questions to them. And Attorney Gurley stated that before. And so, but she left the city too and went to work for Pontiac and took her talent there. She was a good attorney. So, Mickey, let's finish playing this. I didn't read the comments. Oh no, listen. Let's put that up since we in the middle. Listen, y'all. If you could donate, I know this is the middle, please donate. Click like, share, subscribe, and donate. Because this is the only time we're able to get out the truth. The news media didn't show y'all the press conference, the true press conference. They did not. We're going over the true press conference now. So if you could click like, share, and then donate to Cash App, $810 News Media Group. I don't get any funds for this. None. But if you could donate to $810 News Media Group, I don't get money for this. And we're going to go over the real press conference because y'all didn't see none of that where they couldn't answer none of those questions. Judy couldn't answer about that ARPA. She couldn't answer the reporter about the ARPA. And they want to know why we didn't pass the budget. Y'all couldn't answer the questions to the reporter at all. So if you could donate to Cash App, please. 810 News Media Group. We appreciate any donations. It helps us to be able to bring the news to you because we see the news is biased. The news didn't show y'all any of this. They didn't show you that the finance chair can answer those questions. It did not. It did not show the reason why we did not vote because I gave into detail, which is going to come up next, why I did not vote. And I'm very detailed as to why and transparent. We cannot vote on some. Y'all don't even have the figures correct. We can't do that. How do you do that? I'll just get back. We'll get back with you later. Just vote on it. Where do you do that at? That's not handling the business. That's not. And that's almost the same as them giving that reroute $25,000 and they don't own the land. And bank and the contract it just applied for the day of the meeting this week. I mean, it's just crazy. Who handle business like that? And with y'all money. With y'all money. That's how those five are handling it. With y'all money. That reroute, no contract. They don't own the land that they're going to plant them willow trees on. They don't own it, but they gave them $25,000. They didn't apply for that until, what was it? The meeting on Wednesday. Was the meeting Wednesday? The meeting Wednesday was the day they applied to get the land from the land bank. They don't own it. They don't have a contract, but they gave them $25,000 of your ARPA funds. Those 5 gave them $25,000, and they don't even own the property. The very, the very start of any business is you gotta own the property. You gotta own it. How you gonna prove something that you don't own? That's like going to McDonald's and painting the arches blue. You don't own it. You don't own it. You don't have the right to do anything. And there's no contract yet. Nothing. You come back, get your business. That's what they took out of committee, was reroute.
Right.
Reroute.
Right.
Because I told them I'm not against your project, but you need to handle your business with getting a contract, getting a lease. It was reroute. They took out a committee to give them $25,000 with no contract. No rights to use that land. Zero. None. You get $25,000 just because you called and they say they're gonna do it. We're gonna give you $25,000. We're gonna give Cyrus Park $25,000. We're gonna give Cyrus Park $50,000.
Well, how did you bring it back?
Mickey, listen. I'm trying not to cuss like my daddy. My mama don't cuss, but my daddy, yes. And I got to bring that down. These folks running up my pressure. And we say black folk, we don't say blood pressure. I mean, I don't know how. And they don't even have a contract. They don't own the land and gave them $25,000. Absolutely, they think the citizens are stupid.
I'm not trying to be funny in saying that, but I'm just saying because, like you just said, when the CFO didn't know, and how much is he getting paid not to know?
$150,000.
And then Judy's numbers wasn't even right. She the finance chair.
Still ain't right. They wasn't right in the press conference.
Right.
I mean, the real press conference. This is why I need y'all to donate to Cash App 810 News Media Group, because y'all seeing this for yourself. The numbers still wasn't right after the budget hearing. And the reporter was asking her questions. Have to get back with you. They still wasn't right. Okay, so let's go on to. Okay, let's go back on because this is my response. And me and JJ, we got is that gonna be his nickname? JJ, Councilman JJ, crashed a press conference with this nonsense. This was just a bad. Why is Dennis Pfeiffer a part of the budget adoption to bash him? That's not a part of the budget adoption. Okay, let's finish playing it, please.
Colleagues who were here, one had to leave, and we don't know what goes on in people's lives. And it is normal that we ask questions up until the budget to be passed. Should the ARPA have been included, as stated? Absolutely. Because the auditor stated always that we should have all budgets included. We did not have a grants budget. It was not included. This budget did not give a comprehensive overview or picture of the city's finances. We don't know where the city's pension is at. We have a pension liability. We were supposed to receive $220 million. We did receive $170. I want to make sure that the retirees are being paid. Grants budget wasn't there. Although we may not be over the DDA budget, we definitely built out the DDA for $560,000. We were denied the right to listen what their goals are, what are their objectives, how are they being funded? Because they have not ran, they have ran in the red since they've been in existence. So we need to, what are they doing? What can we do to help you? Because when they fall short, we have to bail them out. There also was a question with the check. We had questions about the check. Where did it come from? The $20,336, which was an over expenditure with the DDA. Then we also had questions, the administrative consent order. How do you pass the budget when we have the administrative consent order? That project is a part of our WIN funds. WIN funds is $100 million of it. We now know that the city mismanaged those funds because the state of Michigan is taking over our service line replacement. They took it over. The city did an announcement on it. How do we pass the budget when we don't know how we're going to take care of service lines or restoration? Not just in that report. In that report, there's also 17 projects. We don't know how or where we're going to get the funding for to take care of those. Another 5 of those projects have been funded at 20 to 90%. Where's the funding for completion for that? The TMF report, which is a part of the administrative consent order, that's a technical managerial financial report. That's going to be, who are we employing to do this job? Are the finances right? Who's going to do the capital improvements? We don't know that. All of that has to be paid for. No one's coming to Flint to do it for free. Flint was found in contempt of court because of the service lines. Where is it reflected? We know what Judge Lawson is going to do about that. Because we were told we may get a fine of $500 per day. That is a possibility. We had a no-bid contract with our waste collection. According to our Flint City Charter, it states that we are to put things out to bid, page 76 of our charter. And it states that you can take the lowest responsible bidder. Well, we're taking $2 million of our ARPA funds to short our trash contract or have a $200+ special tax assessment. Those figures weren't clear that night. The CFO stated he would have to get back with us on those numbers. How do you pass a budget if you don't have the numbers? That's just the math. My other part is when we look at state takeover, it became alarming to me when the state said to us, we're going to take over the service line replacements. I know that in my ward that people are being told that they're not going to have their service lines replaced. And when they're asked that, they're told, we're relying on the records of the city to see if you have copper or lead lines. That's or galvanized. That's not the process. So when the state said we're taking it over, that really paused me. Because we know that before, when we were taken over by state management, by emergency management, the governor stated the mayor and the city council lacked the will to govern. It was the mayor and the city council. So we have a responsibility to ask these questions. The CFO stated this on video. He would get back to us. I'm not going to do the blame game of what people had to do. It's not about that. For me, it was the numbers. The CFO didn't have the numbers on budget adoption day, and that is why.
This is not going to get resolved in 1 month. And technically, with the charter, the city needs a budget.
The city doesn't, but the city needs to bring us the answers to these questions.
But that's not going to happen.
I'm unmuted. Okay, it's about the numbers. You cannot pass a budget if you don't have the numbers. You just can't. And I'm gonna stick to the business. It is not about what Councilman Pfeiffer posted on social media. They need to get off social media and get on them numbers. They want to get on something. Get on them numbers and ride them numbers till you figure them out. Because the trash, as I've been stating for a year, when priority first came, it was over in the dome. And they were stating the trash fee. Either we will, those nice trash cans, everybody's like, oh, we gotta get trash cans. Yeah, but they took a no-bid contract. A no-bid contract. We did not send it out to bid. According to the charter, page 76, we have a responsibility. We can't afford priority. And how do we know we can't afford priority? We have to take $2 million of the ARPA funds, or we have to take a tax assessment. So, Mickey, and if you can go, I sent the tax assessment to you. I sent where they put, that number wasn't right in the budget. It wasn't right. So they got, the numbers weren't right. How are we going to pass a budget and the numbers weren't right? They weren't right. So the tax assessment, they had it 206. Then Judy was like, well, it's going to be 236. And then it was 216. Look, who going to vote on this and put their name on it? When y'all playing, I think it is game. No, that's the case. And it's going to have with red on it. Or, and I'm like, they didn't even, Yeah, that one. That's the street assessment. That number was wrong too. The street light assessment number was wrong. It says 7218, and Councilman Jarrett stated, he said, you know, the math is not correct. That number was wrong. How are we going to pass the budget? That number is wrong. You can't. How do you pass a budget when they don't have the numbers right? The business of the city, the budget, they didn't have it. That one was wrong. Look, I didn't create that. It's Councilman Jared said that's a cut and paste that was done wrong.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, he said that was a cut and paste gone wrong. You know, and so when he stated, he asked, and I was going, and I don't remember who was, I think, was I talking at that time? Because he said a point of information. So that's incorrect. You can't pass the budget when, okay, let's go on to, it's another one. That one is wrong. It's another one that's showing that they're wrong too. And it's the taxes. Then the other one is, I think, the trash assessment. I mean, it might be easier to say what they had right. Yeah, and I don't even know what they had right. And it may be down. I may have to send that one out. So, and these are things which are inside of the budget. Yeah, it wouldn't be that far. And so if they don't have them right, how are we supposed to, you know, I mean, what are we supposed to do? I'm not going to pass no blind budget. I'm not going to do it. I may not have sent that to you, Mickey. So that may have been my bad. That is probably my bad.
Pass a blind budget. But did you know it's been nothing but unbalanced pass since 2020?
Well, I mean, and they just vote just because. Bless you. See, don't be coming in here with that.
My allergies.
Yo, is that what you gonna say?
My allergies.
So I'm gonna send this one back to you. Because this number was wrong, and I didn't highlight that one. I just sent it to you, should be at the bottom, and it's gonna be
What if y'all didn't catch them like Dennis caught them last time? They was gonna pass some of the people that even had their paperwork there for Harper money.
Yeah, it's every time.
They was gonna just push that.
Yeah, and then the trash fee. The trash fee was wrong. He caught when I caught the trash fee. It's not, I mean, their fees aren't wrong. Jerry caught the master fee schedule. I mean, if the council, if we're not reading it, you know, Jerry with the master fee, me with the trash, Councilman Jarrett with the street light assessment. So did it come to you yet? Let's see, look, now I was trying to play. Okay, it should. Okay, and these not my numbers, everybody, as I'm showing you the proof. So let's score. Okay, the trash assessment, solid waste. Okay, solid waste, it says the 20256. And we can leave that up while I talk too, but you can blow it up to where it says the 20256. That number was 216, 208, 236. That number was everything but 202. And so you got the one above it, which is the street assessment, which was wrong. Then you got the municipal solid waste cost for fiscal 2025. 20256 was wrong. So how do I know we can't afford priority waste? Y'all getting a special tax assessment? Either because they don't have that number right. If it's going to be 202, 208, 2012, 216, or 236. It's going to be 2 something. How do you put it past something when you don't have the correct number? We can't afford priority waste. We had trash hearings. During the trash hearings, Mike Brown stated that Mayor Neely instructed him to shred the contract. He shredded it, to grab it off of Shelby Freier's desk and to shred it, and he did it. And so priority was to trash waste company. People like priority. Some people do, you know, and now we're looking at, they were $9 million higher than the lowest bidder. And now we have to figure out, we can't be taxed any higher. So you have to have either a special assessment per year, which is going to be 200 and something. But this budget time, you're supposed to have one number, not a fluctuating number or it might be number. You're supposed to have a solid number like they want for the solid waste, a solid number. They do not. And we can't even afford priority. Priority received a no bid 5-year contract. A no bid. We can't afford them because you're getting a special tax assessment or they're taking $2 million to balance it. Not just, let me tell you, $2 million to balance it for the next 2 years. The next 5 years, we got to figure out where do we get the money for to pay it for the next 5 years. And so one of the things Judy has said before is we'll just kick that can down the road when it came to the administrative consent order. The finance chair should not be saying kick the can down the road. That's not an answer. And so that number was not correct. That's one of the reasons why the budget was not passed. I wasn't past that, and we didn't have that number either. So let's go on. I mean, let's go back to, because this is why the budget wasn't passed. So let's go to Councilman Jarrett. And we can go back to him. And he was stating, because there's just, the truth is just not in them. And y'all wouldn't have seen the real press conference because they went there strictly to talk about their colleagues, talk about why that number for the trash and the waste ain't right. Talk about why that master fee schedule is not right. Talk about why that street light assessment number is not right. Talk about why y'all didn't have your stuff right coming to budget adoption. Talk about that. Talk about the stuff why the budget wasn't adopted. Not because your colleagues, what they put on social media, that has no bearing on them numbers. And guess what? We still don't know what the numbers are. We still don't. So we can get to the point where he's talking. And this is the thing with me. And it irritates me to my fiber. They just want to bash. And it is political for them. It's not business. Because the business would have been having them numbers there. And when the CFO said, Judy, I'm relying on you to have those numbers, I was flabbergasted. How are you relying on her to have them numbers? She just told that reporter she had a number. She had, oh, I only looked at the one side. She's not the CFO. She's a council person. Let's play where Councilman Jarrett is speaking. At the press conference, we crashed.
On the 9th Ward, elected on May 7th. Today is what, May 31st. My election was certified on May 15th, as opposed to wait to begin to start to do the work and actually be able to legally obtain information that my other peers would have been privy to. Instead of waiting and have fanfare on whatever the next council date was, myself, my wife, my parents, and one other family member stood right about there on Thursday morning, the day after I contacted no media in any form, and with some I have a fair amount of rapport with, but I wanted to begin to be able to do the work that I was elected to do. In that, now I was not able to sit on the dais for all of the budget meetings, but I did sit in the first budget meeting on whatever afternoon at 2 o'clock or noon or whatever time it was, and then I was here for callbacks, and I was in my seat. So I'm not here, as was stated, for a rebuttal. This is not about rebuttal. This is not about, for me, anything close to us versus them. As I have said many times, wherever right is, that's where you'll see me doing my best to stand next to. Okay? So as to the budget and why in that day I voted no, is because there were too many unanswered questions that were asked in that day, in that moment. There were numbers in the packet we had that did not make sense. as is said, as a colloquialism, the math wasn't math, which means the numbers didn't add up. So with that, I could not accept or vote to approve what was there. Now, as it relates to questions I've heard you ask about Monday, fortunately and unfortunately, in one regard, we have until Monday. So we have not violated anything as yet. Ideally, you want to have things done and be able to deliver them neatly with a bow on top and all kinds of ribbon and fanfare prior to something being due. But in this case, we may run to, hopefully not through a deadline, but we may run up to a deadline. That said, that we're going to have a meeting on Monday, it would be good that we don't have to wait until a press conference on the Friday before the Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to, as a council person, even hear about it. That press conference or that notice of meeting could have gone out at the same time as the notice of this press conference. So some of that stuff, you know, I found out, which I think many in the audience did as well, that our body had the budget the first part of March, to which, for Jonathan Jarrett, the resident who now sits in a seat as a council person, I owed the administration an apology, because my assumption was, why are they giving the budget to the council so late, where the council seemingly every year is the week before having budget meetings? Well, and it was just told, the budget meetings started in mid-May. That has been demonstrated not to be the best practice. So if I understand, we'll get whether reelected or what have you. And this is not me blaming any one person. We are a body of nine. So all of us have to take equal responsibility to speak up, to say, hey, historically or whatever, we tend to run to and stumble over the line. Let's give ourselves a little bit more time going forward. So maybe let's start something in April so that we have, if they need to have a whole month to answer questions that might be legitimate to have and have these meetings publicly. So hopefully on Monday, we will be able to adopt. Hopefully.
If the math still isn't math on Monday, you gonna vote for or against it?
If there is something presented to me that is not right, you just heard me say, I'll stand on the side of right. So if it's not right, it can't get my vote.
Okay. So as you can see, Councilman Jarrett stated the numbers did not add up and they did not make sense, which was his reason for not voting on the budget. The numbers did not add up and they did not make sense. So another thing that didn't add up and didn't make sense, Mickey, let's play state steps in to manage Flint's overdue lead line replacement. You can't make this stuff up. And this is serious business. This is serious. We've seen this before. We've seen this before with the state coming in. Okay, Mickey, cue it up, please.
Now we got action.
It's 4 years past the deadline to replace all the lead service lines in Flint, and now the state is stepping in to fix a big problem left behind on the work done so far. We're learning Eagle, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy will now oversee repairing yards left damaged after pipes were replaced. But the department will not pay for the project. The city says the money will come from the state treasury. 1,900 homes have yards that have been left a mess. Repairing that damage will cost more than $4 million. But the city only has about $1 million left. So it'll transfer the Roe and Global Lakeshore Corporation contracts to the state.
They're telling us, City of Flint, you couldn't manage your own project or your finances for it. That's concerning to me.
Flint City Councilwoman Tonya Burns says the city simply didn't have enough money to cover the rest of the service line excavation and restoration project.
Flint started out with the water crisis, and there's been others since then. And Flint still isn't fixed. Jackson, Mississippi is fixed. Benton Harbor is fixed. All other places has been fixed, and Flint still has not managed to finish it between 2020 and 2024.
In 2017, there was a settlement that required the city to remove all the lead service lines from the street to the home in response to the Flint water crisis. All the lines and property restorations were supposed to be done by 2020. Now, 4 years later, and millions upon millions of dollars spent, the work continues.
We have to be responsible in that getting service lines and lead removed, because no lead level is safe in the body.
It's frustrating and embarrassing.
Melissa Mays is a water activist and filed that original lawsuit against the city back in 2015.
Do you feel that the state is bailing the city out?
I do feel like the state is bailing city. I think the state finally realized that the city is just not going to do it. This administration has no will to protect the people and to finish the project that they signed to do.
The city has been held in contempt after failing to meet the latest deadline. The question is, how much money will the state be fronting to complete all of this work?
Is unfortunately the only way that it's ever going to get done, unless the residents just start picking up shovels and backhoes, and that's just unacceptable.
I have reached out to Eagle to ask who is paying for this and when will the work start. They tell me as soon as possible on the start. As for who's footing the bill, Eagle says the legislature allocated the money, which will also support completing some additional pipe replacements. Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely wasn't available for an interview, but says in his statement, quote, "This is an important step in meeting the terms of the settlement agreement that has governed lead service line replacement in Flint since 2017. We are committed to getting the lead out at every home, and we are continuing to seek funding to replace additional lead service lines beyond the terms of the settlement agreement." Tonight, Flint Serenity House held an event to bring together the community to heal. It was all about art and music. Flint Serenity House is a substance use recovery support organization. Art was on display from people who are in recovery.
These are things which is, if we didn't have the money to fix the service line, it comes out the general fund. So all of these things bear on the finances of the city. It's all the finances. The auditors have stated all budgets, everything that comes into the city. And that's not what we got. So not just Councilman Jared didn't agree with 138. And so Councilman Murphy was disturbed about it also. And so I'm gonna let y'all listen to, Councilman Jared said the numbers didn't add up. It makes sense. Councilwoman Winfrey Carter said it did not give a comprehensive overview of the city's finances, which was her reason, and the numbers weren't correct. And then we're now going to play. Are we at it, Nikki? Okay, and we're going to listen to Councilman Murphy. He didn't agree. Let's play that, please.
A balanced budget. We must pass a balanced budget by the first Monday in June based on our charter. By sending all of these fees back to council, we are not approving revenues.
Point of information.
What is your request?
Through you to the speaker, you also realize that you gave us some numbers that you didn't know for sure whether it will cover the cost. So therefore, I'm not voting on anything that I don't know no exact numbers that's gonna balance the books. So if you go bring some numbers, bring
Mr. Murphy, thank you. That's enough.
Mr. Murphy,
Go ahead.
Mr. Murphy,
Go ahead.
when I talked about I said that based on the number of households listed in the resolution and the cost of the garbage contract, based on the resolution, to cover the cost of that contract on the household, fees and millages back to finance, that we will not be in compliance with the Home Rule Act that requires us to pass a balanced budget. We must pass a balanced budget by the first Monday in June, based on our charter. By sending all of these fees back to council, we are not approving revenues.
point of information.
What is your request?
Through you to the speaker, you also realize that you gave us some numbers that you didn't know for sure whether it will cover the cost. So therefore, I'm not voting on anything that I don't know no exact numbers that's gonna balance the books. So if you go bring some numbers, bring
Mr. Murphy, thank you. That's enough.
Mr. Murphy,
Go ahead.
Mr. Murphy.
So here it is. You can go to the official city council meeting that's on, and you can go to 1 minute and 38, 1 hour and 38 minutes, where Councilman Murphy states, you do realize you gave us some numbers that didn't add up. It didn't cover the cost. And that's why he stated he wasn't voting. So there's a consensus that the council members who can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are saying the numbers didn't add up. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 × 2 = 4. The numbers weren't adding up, which is why council members did not pass that budget. You cannot bring a budget and expect us to pass it. Quincy told Judy the numbers did not add up. And do you realize, Judy, you gave us some numbers that didn't add up, Judy. And that's why, Judy, I'm not voting, Judy, on that budget. Those are Quincy's. Quincy told her, do you realize? So let's go to 1 minute and 25, Mickey, because I'm telling y'all. And then they got a Kool-Aid stand.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve resolution 240219. Any support?
support.
Madam Chair.
Supported by the councilman in the 3rd Ward. Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
Yes, I want to ask the pleasure of the body. As we know that our cost of our garbage collection is less than what we're collecting. In order to collect the correct amount of money to cover the cost of our garbage, we need to up this to $216.86. This should have been done last year. This is an increase of $14.30. So I would like to open this up to the pleasure of the body, whether to go ahead and to make a motion to increase that cost or to leave it as it is. If we leave it as it is, please understand that we will need to use ARPA to balance this line item.
Request for information. Or I'm sorry, maybe, where are you? She's posing a question to the body. So is she giving the floor up, or?
I am now giving the floor.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
Thank you. So this is what I'm understanding. So this would be for those, for priority waste. So with priority waste, we were going to take 2 million of ARPA, 2 million of ARPA to balance the trash fund. Mr. Moore, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. We were then either we were going to, and then for the next 5 years, we would have to either raise the trash fee per year or have a special tax assessment to be able to pay for the trash. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. But if we take 2 million of ARPA, this will balance ARPA for 2 years.
Correct.
Okay. So this is saying this is giving us a choice. Either we use ARPA 2 million or we pay, I think, Judy, this is 202.56. Did I hear through you, Madam Chair? Did she say 216? Because I'm looking at what's in our.
If I may, Madam Chair, when I took the cost inside of the resolution, if you go to the resolution itself, and I divided it by the 33,000 households that's listed there, the total came to $216.86.
Okay, and so in this resolution, it's 202.56.
Correct.
So the resolution needs to be changed.
That I am asking the pleasure of the body if
Okay.
they want to. I'm not making the motion. I want free discussion on this
Discussion.
item.
See, and
so
I think
that's what
this,
I'm
yeah, and I see you're saying you're given a choice to do raise the trash or use ARPA and not pass that cost on to the residents, which in a way is still kind of being moved over to the residents. So I don't, okay. So when does this need to be done by, this decision, Mr. Moore?
What had to be done?
When do we have to make a decision as far as the trash?
We have to know the amount before we prepare the tax bills. And I don't know what the schedule is for that.
I'm sorry, yeah. Could you please repeat that? I didn't understand you.
We have to know what that is before we prepare the tax bills for the special assessment.
So the numbers on the trash wasn't right. As I stated in the body, it stated 202. They were saying 216, 208, but in the resolution, it was 202. But then she says 236 if we do that. It wasn't right. How do you pass a decision on something and the stuff wasn't right? You know, and as Quincy said, do you realize that you gave us numbers that didn't add up and they wouldn't cover the cost? And so this is the budget time. So they give a press conference acting like they did the meeting and had all their stuff together. It was not. It was not. And then Mr. Moore said at one point he was waiting on Judy to give him figures. And at that point, the girl was done. I was done because we sit here and this is the budget. And it's important, and it is the business. It's the business of the city. So that's why the budget wasn't passed. Everything that we just went over. But Mickey, I want to go up to, and I'm gonna get off of this because I told you I think I lost the brain cell. The budget, you know, we got the budget meeting at 12. Hopefully they'll have the figures and everything, the numbers, because them numbers, well, none of them right. I mean, and everybody asked intelligent questions. And everyone was perplexed as to, I don't know where they got them numbers to put in them resolutions. I don't know. Because the trash was wrong. The master fee had questions. There's questions about the ARPA budget. There was questions about the solid waste to trash. And the numbers weren't right. And I mean, and it's what's that? People be catching feelings. We're just catching wrong numbers left and right. Left and right. So I want to go on to this new disorderly conduct for a public hearing that they want to pass. And people need to understand this is throughout for the city. So they're limiting, you better not sneeze too loud. So did I put and it may be a picture taken, not a good shot of that one. but I'm gonna start reading. It said it's going to be resolution 240191. And I believe this one was brought by Candace. No, it looks like this. And so it's gonna look like it's a screenshot, probably. It's not gonna be a very good copy of that's it. Yeah, yeah. And so it's resolution 240191 is what it's going to be. They had the public hearing. It says disorderly conduct, assault and battery, and disorderly persons. It says disorderly conduct by any person who does any of the following is guilty of a misdemeanor. Engaged in a fight in public. That's number one. Number two, remains in any public place after a regular closing hours after being told by an authorized person to leave. 3, conducts himself, that should be him or her. Who wrote this? I mean, in any public, so that only applies to males because it doesn't apply to women or female, or conducts himself in any public place or joins with one or more persons in a public place. Now it goes, he or she should know that singly or together with others to whom he or she has joined in unreasonably obstructing the free and uninterrupted passage of the public along any street or sidewalk. This subsection shall not be interpreted to conflict with the regulations of the National Labor Relations Board, picketing and labor disputes. This needs to be, I don't even think this is in it. That needs to be scratched. That's very poorly written. But this, I think, got to go to them aisleways too. They mad about them aisleways and tripod gate. Number 4, persist in disturbing the public peace and quiet by loud or aggressive conduct. What is loud? So what if you out in public and you chanting? Are you clapping because it's a candidate or a president hearing you coming? Yay! You can't do that because if it's in a public place. Why? These geniuses have said persisting in disturbing the public peace and quiet by loud or aggressive conduct. Who's stating it's loud or aggressive conduct? Y'all need to come to city council. Look, this is what is it? South Korea, North Korea, Kim Jong-il, or whatever. This is what they're making the city of Flint. Public police by quiet or loud or aggressive conduct after having been clearly informed by persons affected. Okay, so each person affected, this is garbage. Affected that he or she is in fact unreasonably causing a disturbance. Notice need not be given when the persons affected reasonably believe that to do so would constitute a risk to their personal safety. I just became dumber by number 4. I'm sorry. Number 4 is ridiculous. I'm gonna read it one more time. Number 4, and this is the new part. So this means you can't clap, say nothing in public. It's not just council chambers, it's public. And who is the persons? So persons in disturbing the public of peace and quiet by loud or aggressive conduct after having been clearly informed by persons affected that he or she is in fact unreasonably causing a disturbance. Notice need not be given when such persons affected reasonably believe that to do so would constitute a risk to their personal safety. That doesn't even make sense to me. So number 5, persist in disturbing the peace and orderly conduct of any meeting of a public body or any meeting open to the general public by any conduct or communication that inflicts injury, tends to incite an immediate breach of peace, or prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of the meeting after having been clearly informed that he or she is in fact unreasonably causing a disturbance. So this is being left up to the interpretation of whomever. And it's not just in city council. We know it for city council chambers, but this is for the city of Flint in its entirety in any public place. This is not just in council chambers. So if your neighbors or you at a basketball game, you too loud, and somebody's saying you're talking too loud, you're rooting for little Joey too loud, or are you rooting for I don't even know, something, little Jay too loud. You're disturbing my peace. You're in violation of disorderly conduct. You're in a public place at a public school. This applies everywhere, but you could be subject to arrest. This is the garbage that they're putting in here. Number 6, knowingly transports any person for consideration or the offer of consideration to a place where, well, that's prostitution and gambling. I ain't gonna go away with it. I mean, that's fine. Number 7, knowingly harasses any other person is defined and repeated nonverbal conduct that is specifically intended to frighten, embarrass, or anger the person or persons who are the object of that conduct. The person accused has reason to know his or her actions will likely produce those reactions, and repeated verbal communication that inflicts injury or incites or intimidates breach of peace. So how do you determine, who determines what's embarrassing? Who determines that? This stuff is ridiculous. So I just want to tell y'all, this is for the city of Flint. It's not just for city council chamber. This is a disorderly conduct. This is an ordinance. This is for the entire city. And some of this stuff doesn't even make sense. So when we look at, like I said, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's just crazy. I mean, they make no sense. And they're trying to find a reason to arrest and to put people, to charge people with crimes. You're in the public. You got to whisper in public. But what if my whispering embarrassed you? What if my whispering bothers you? And so it's left up to interpret. This is going to end up in court with somebody. This is going to end up in court with somebody if this garbage is passed. So listen, Nikki, put up the cash app. If we can, these are things that they don't get into. So these are things which are important. We're able to bring you this type of information because number one, shows like this, we brought you the Real Press Conference. We bringing you the disorderly conduct, which is crazy, which is a violation of people's rights. What is embarrassing to somebody? How do you embarrass somebody? And so is this because they were upset? Because things, I guess, if you step to the podium, you got to watch what you say. They're limiting your freedom of speech because you may say something that embarrasses someone. You got to sit there and take it. I mean, it's part of, it's part of being in public office. It's just part of it. I don't agree with, things that people come out there and say to me, but you know what? It is what it is. They have a right to freedom of speech, and I have a right, they have a right, and I have a right. So if you can donate to Cash App, $810 News Media Group, it helps us to bring the real news to you, like the Real News Conference. So we got over 200 and something people, 265 that are watching. If you donate $5 or $10 or $20 or $25, this money goes to help to keep us, to give you the real news. The Real News Conference, where you guys actually start, is not what Channel 12 report. Not at all. Channel 12 didn't report none of that. They didn't have the answers. Channel 12 did not report that they did not have the answers for the trash fee. Channel 12 didn't report that they didn't have the street light assessment fee correct. Channel 12 didn't report that they did not have, there was questions about the master fee schedule because it needed to be changed. Channel 12 didn't report that the CFO asked the council person in the 4th ward for her figures and not his figures. This is a way for us to bring you true, things that happen that's happening in the city of Flint. This allows us to do that. And A1O News Media Group, the podcast, and alternative news, which is kind of like the Young Turks, it allows us to do that. And so when you do it, we appreciate it, because the 191 is limiting your freedom of speech. And listen, don't y'all dare embarrass. I don't even know what some of this stuff mean. I'm being honest with you. I don't know what some of this mean, because it's so poorly written and convoluted with garbage that you don't know. So you better not talk too loud. You better not be anybody's way. You better not, I don't know what it considers to be embarrassment or gestures. You can't, they're limiting anything that you can do. So Flint is becoming little, what is it, North Korea? Yeah, North Korea is what it's becoming, because they want to limit everything that you can do. Everything that you can do. So whatever you donate, I want to tell you thank you, because it allows us to bring podcasts like this to you. Because Flint is not unique. If Flint is allowed to let 240191 limiting everything and publishing, this is going to happen. It's everywhere. It's the same thing. And this is what I was told with my attorney Johnson and Mikowski. And we're going to be closing down here. But they told me, if with them taking us back to court, what it allows them to do is to remove any elected official. Any elected official. So if you got judges and 3 of your other judges don't like you, they can get together and remove you from the bench, not by the people who elected you, but by them or your people in Congress. That if they don't like Jasmine Crockett, and we know Jasmine Crockett, the bleach bond bad built butch body, they don't like what she done said. Get some of her colleagues and remove her too. It's removing elected officials. This isn't about me. That win was for the people. My win was for the people. And what happens is this allows them to start removing elected officials that you, the public, elect. You expect who you elect to be in that seat. This allows them to remove them. So whatever you can donate, please donate to Cash Up 810 News Media Group. 810 News Media Group, because I want to make sure I keep you aware of what's going on. Anything that you donate, if you donate, I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid for this. And the city does not pay my attorney fees at all. And we're going back to court, y'all, because they want to remove elected officials. They're trying to set a precedence that who you vote for, they can remove. It's a dangerous slope. It's dangerous. Dangerous, because, and they don't even, they be lying. I didn't call that girl no wench. No. Jasmine Crockett could end up being removed for calling bleach bond bad built butch body. We know how it goes. That there's the majority and the minority. After she told her eyelashes and then put a slit tire up, But listen, I want to thank y'all, because we have to get out of here. I want to thank y'all for giving me your time this Saturday morning. I want you to click like, share, and subscribe. And if you could donate to 810 News Media Group, it is greatly appreciated. I want everyone to have a magnificent weekend. And whatever you're doing, be good and be true to yourself. Anything you want to say, Mickey?
Be safe this weekend.
Yeah, and listen, and look, and if you in Flint, please still call those gunshots. If you are hearing gunshots, call them in, because we need 911 keeps a separate record, and I'm able to pull those records to see how many we actually get, and then I can cross-reference them to how many were actually dispatched with a officer unit. So please, when you hear gunshots, please call 911, because we need an official record. Be safe. And I appreciate y'all giving me your time on Saturday morning. And I kept this 2 hours. It was 2 hours. Yeah. I'm out of here. I love each and every one of y'all. And I hope y'all have a wonderful and beautiful weekend.